Morning, everybody. How are you? More milk. I have to get milk today. Ooh. Yikesers. Good morning, everybody. No milk. Rough go. No milk. We're gonna have a strawberry white chocolate one today as a what do you call it? Treat. You're living life of the Swifty shirts. That's so cute. Can I see when you're done? Please? Please let me see when you're done. I'll tell her I said hi. Is everyone enjoying the new album? She wrote it about my husband, so that was really nice of her to, like, you know, put an album out about Secret Husband. We're doing all right, Isabella. We're doing all right. We've been up a long time. We woke up early this morning. How are you? How's school going? Good morning, Mary. Did she zonk out finally? Yeah, just now, yeah. I'm ill at the moment. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that, Isabella. That's not nice. Nobody wants to be sick. No good. No good. I'm going to go broke tonight. Yeah, well, I'm going to go broke after this restock, right? Pretty funny. We'll all go broke together, how's that? Blue Fairy? Guys, the Blue Fairy is here. That's pretty exciting for all of us, given the circumstances. We love a fairy. Big fan. Big fan. I'm gonna miss Roll Slime so much. I know. I saw there's a way that you can pack your own pot if you need cost savings. I might have to start doing that. I'm gonna, weigh all the different costs. Good morning, Jen. Yes. Good morning, regulars, and good morning, randos that join for 2 minutes and then ditch. Hey, randos, buy this book. Regulars, do what you want. Everyone who just passes by should purchase this book. It's good for your soul. Yeah. But, like, buy the books in order, I guess. I don't know. Whatever. Do what you want. Don't let me tell you what to do. They're just looking for a slime fix. It's true. They are just looking for their slime fix. I was thinking, so obviously we have restock tonight. We have a lot of stuff going on. But probably next week, once I'm done with all the restock stuff, I'm going to open reviews. I haven't opened reviews since, like, 2019, which is crazy. But I was thinking I was gonna let you guys vote on, like, I'll do maybe like 5 a month. Maybe I'll let you guys vote on who it's gonna be. Way back in the day when we all used to do reviews, you used to get submissions of like hundreds at a time. Sparkler Scholars. Oh, I like that. That's cute. Where'd you come up with that one? The Sparkler Scholars. Into it. But yeah, we used to get like a ton of submissions for reviews. I don't know if it'll still be crazy like that, but no one at my level really does open reviews anymore. So it's gonna be like going back to the start your brain at 12:30 a.m. That's fair. So like the interesting thing about it is the reason I haven't done reviews in a long time is because since no other shops were doing it, the slime hive, definitely always her. No other big shops were doing reviews anymore, and I felt like if I did open reviews, that people would be like, oh well, like I guess what I'm trying to say is there was a lot of stuff that I felt like I couldn't say because people would feel like I was just trying to knock another shop in order to get more sales for myself. But here's the sitch. After tonight, I won't be selling slime anymore. So there's no competition in me anymore. So I can be as honest as I want in my reviews, and no one can say, yeah, exactly. No one can be like, oh, well, she just didn't like that slime as much because she wants you to buy hers. You can't buy mine after tonight. So that won't be the case anymore. You know what I mean? So I think it opens me up to be able to like really go through, and my goal, and you guys can tell me if you like this goal or not, is to find two different things. Number one, to find each texture closest to the way that I made it, so that people who really like the way that I make slime know where they can get it, right? So I'll say, this is the thick and glossy that's closest to my thick and glossy, or this is the putty that's closest to my putty, or whatever like that. Oh, you have a Taylor Swift shirt too. That's amazing. I'll check it out after this. And then my other goal is to find the best one of each of those things too. My husband asked if you had tries. I don't know what a Tyrion is, but I do have leather, but I don't know what's Tyrion. I don't know what that is. But I'm open to learning. So I want to find the best slime of every texture, and the black thick and glossy that I made. The most recent one, or one of the past. The most recent one was it was Tuscan cedar wood and tobacco, maybe? Yeah, thank you, Tiffany. Yes, Tuscan cedar wood and tobacco. I think I still have that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, message me, Nikki. I do. I think I still have that. So anyway, those are my goals for, I'm on a phone call, so I'll be here. Oh, hello, Nisa. So those are my goals for reviewing. So yeah, I'll open submissions when restock is done, because I won't really be able to focus until then. My goals for when restock are done, obviously, other than cleaning out the slime room and making it into Secret Baby's room, are do reviews, learn Discord, figure out the YouTube situation, and do Slime Guide 2.0. Taryn, yes. So that is my situation, where my brain is at. You know the cigarette scene for Fourth Wing? Slime Guide 2.0, yes. My goal is to have Slime Guide 2.0 done before Christmas so that people can gift it for Christmas, and I'm hoping to have it on Kindle so that people can have it more easily. That's the goal. And I want Slime Guide 2.0 to have all the original ones in it as well. I know some people already have those, but I feel like if we're gonna make it really nice and put it on Kindle, everything should be in it. Are you gonna paint over Wall Sasha? Wall Sasha's a sticker. Wall Sasha is a sticker, so she can go anywhere. Yeah. I'll probably put her in my closet, so I can still hang out with her sometimes. But yes, she's a sticker. Giant, giant sticker. Okay. All right. Let's get into it. Where were we yesterday? Yes. It's time for chapter 6. Chapter 6 is Queen Red's House of Progress. Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out, Amanda. That sounded odd, but that's cool. Yeah, it did sound odd, but yeah, no. We won't paint her room because we can only stay in this apartment really. Yeah, it's vinyl. Yeah, definitely movable. That's why he got it that way on purpose. We can only stay in this apartment for 1 more year max, so we're not going to paint the room knowing that it's just 1 year. It's kind of a waste to paint it. Wherever we go, we'll probably paint the next place. So yeah, but we just have until this time next year in this apartment. Okay, let's get into Queen Red's House of Progress. Chapter 6. Can't even see what's making all that noise. Could do the peel and stick wallpaper. Yeah, and we might do that in the next place. She's just so young right now that she won't even know the difference right now. Yeah, tell them to shush up. Admin needs to take some red notes, right? Yeah. She cares. You gotta give her that. She cares. Yeah, to some extent. Here we go. The fairy inaugural ball was just a day away, but it was only one of the major things occupying Alex's mind. As soon as she'd agreed to go on a walk with Rook, she found herself juggling 2 fixations at the same time. 1 minute she was obsessing about what to wear and how to behave at the ball, and the next she was daydreaming about how wonderful or tragic her walk might be. It was an exhausting, constant balancing act between the 2 worries. On the one hand, she was thankful to have 2 subjects on her mind, as each distracted her from the other, but on the other hand, Alex would have given anything just to clear her mind for a moment or 2. Alex thought the best way to deal with the stress of the 2 pending events would be to get away from the reminders of both, so she happily took Red's offer to meet the morning after Jack and Goldilocks' wedding. It was a bright and sunny morning when Alex and Cornelius journeyed into the Red Riding Hood Kingdom. They traveled northwest and around the Troll and Goblin territory, or, well, the Troblin territory it was now called, and soon the tiny kingdom came into view. A high wall was being constructed around the kingdom. Dozens and dozens of stonemasons worked tirelessly on it, building it up brick by brick, and from the looks of it, the new wall would be exactly like the old one. Oh, Brittany, I'm sorry, but we're always on at the same time, so you can always get on. From the looks of it, the new wall would be exactly like the old one, which the enchantress had eliminated. Alex and Cornelius had no trouble crossing into the kingdom. Many of the guards at the south gate even bowed to Alex, recognizing her as an acquaintance of the queen. Cornelius really trotted through the rural hills of Bo Peep family farms, showing off for the livestock as they passed. Oh, sorry, not really, regally. That's true, Brittany, that's fair. And he went to the town in the center of the kingdom where Red's castle stood. The town was delightful as when Alex saw it for the first time with her brother. It was a friendly and picturesque village with many shops, barns, houses, and landmarks. A baker stood outside of his shop, sharing trays of free samples with the townspeople who moved past. A locksmith had a table set up outside his store and demonstrated how he made keys to an onlooking crowd. Farmers pulled stubborn animals and children through the streets as they went about their day. The Red Riding Hood Kingdom had recovered handsomely from the turmoil the enchantress had caused. "Excuse me, do you know where the House of Progress is?" Alex asked a shepherd passing by. It's across from the castle at the other end of the park," the shepherd told her. "Thank you," Alex said and followed his directions. She had been to the castle many times, and it was easy for her to steer Cornelius there. The House of Progress looked just like a miniature version of the U.S. Capitol, except that this one had been painted red and the dome had been replaced with the world's largest square basket. "That is so Red Riding Hood," Alex said, and shook her head. Even Cornelius moved his head back and forth at the ridiculous sight. They traveled through the park, and Alex left Cornelius at the foot of the building's wide front steps. Statues of Queen Red posing heroically in her favorite outfits lined the steps all the way up to the doorway. Alex couldn't believe that this was the woman that she had come all this way to get advice from, but at least the journey had gotten her out of the fairy kingdom. The House of Progress's entrance hall was decorated with dozens of paintings of the young queen. Alex was used to Red's narcissistic decorating by now, and it didn't even faze her. But there were 2 incredibly large paintings on the wall that made her laugh.
One was of Red regally speaking to her people just before setting sail on the enormous flying ship the Granny, and the other was a painting depicting the moment when Red refused to surrender her kingdom to the Enchantress. Alex had been around for both of these moments and didn't remember either one as dramatic as the painting suggested, but she thought that they were amusing nonetheless. In the very center of the entrance hall was another statue of Red, but the epic proportions of this one included Queen Red sitting on her throne, looking exactly like the Lincoln Memorial. "I've got to stop showing Red pictures of the other world," Alex said under her breath, and a line of waiting townspeople started in the entrance hall, curved around the giant statue, and ended just before the open doorway to the next room. Alex followed the line and found herself stepping into a large circular room directly under the building's gigantic basket. Yes, don't forget to set your alarms for restock. Amanda's totally correct. "Alex, look out!" Red shouted from the back of the room, and the next thing Alex knew, she was being tackled to the ground by an enormous black wolf. Her wand was knocked out of her hand and it rolled away from her. The wolf pressed his massive paws against her chest near her throat, and he opened his large snout, and Alex could see all the sharp teeth inside his mouth. She closed her eyes as tightly as possible, knowing exactly what was coming next. Alex felt the wolf's wide, wet tongue lick her face over and over again. He was just excited to see her. "Hello, Claudius," Alex grunted under him. "It's nice to see you again."
"No, Claudius, what did I say about tackling guests?"
Red yelled, and a handful of Red's guards who had been standing along the edge of the room tried to remove the wolf from the young fairy, but he growled viciously at them and quickly backed away.
"Claudius, get off the air to magic right now,"
Red demanded, and Claudius immediately jumped off of Alex. Clearly, Red was the only one who could control him. Alex got to her feet, and Claudius put his overgrown head in her hand so that she would pet him. "Look how big you've gotten, Claudius," Alex said as she scratched under his chin. "You get bigger every single time I see you." Claudius retrieved Alex's wand, but when she went to take it from his mouth, he pulled it away. He wanted to play. "Oh, no, Claudius," Alex said in a panic. "This is not something that we can play with."
"Claudius, drop the nice fairy's wand right now,"
Red ordered, but the wolf ignored her.
"I said drop it. Don't make me shake the can full of coins."
Claudius sat down and set the wand gently on the floor in front of Alex. Even when he was seated, he was almost as tall as she would. Alex collected her wand and headed back to the room where Red sat. Red was perched on a raised throne and dressed to the nines in a red ball gown and a tiara. She was drenched in diamonds, and to her right were 2 rows of raised seats where 9 people and animals sat, although the seats weren't raised as high as hers, of course. Alex assumed these must be the representatives that Red had been talking about yesterday. Alex recognized the 3 sitting closest to Red as Red's granny, the little old woman who ran the shoe inn, and the 3rd little pig. There were also 3 blindfolded white mice who shared 1 seat, and a bushy-haired black sheep, a nervous and young jumpy woman, and an obese man who wore a guilty expression as he ate a pie.
"Everyone, this is my good friend Alex," Red said. "Alex, let me introduce you to my House of Progress representatives, the Honorable 3 Blind Mice, Sir Baba Black Sheep, Lady Muffet, and Sir Jack Horner, and of course you know Granny and the little old woman from the shoe inn, and the 3rd little pig."
They all greeted her with warm welcomes, except for the old woman, who was infamously hard of hearing. "Who's a complex?" the old woman asked.
"Not complex, Alex,"
Granny said directly into her friend's ear.
"She's one of Red's friends."
"Well, it's wonderful to meet all of you," Alex said. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything."
"No, not at all," Red said. "We're just waiting for Charlie to arrive before we begin our weekly open house meeting. I'm sure you saw all the townspeople lined up. They love to come to the House of Progress and voice their concerns. I've become very good at figuring out ways to help people. It's a little like a game." Just then,
They heard footsteps and saw Froggy entering the room carrying a large stack of papers. "Good afternoon, everyone," he kindly greeted the representatives. "And hello, Alex. I wasn't expecting to see you." Huh? Claudius tackled Froggy just as soon as he came into the room. This is how the wolf seemed to greet people. All of Froggy's papers flew into the air. "Claudius, I saw you not just 20 minutes ago. You really have to stop this madness," Froggy grunted, pushing the wolf off of him. "We really need to start chaining him down."
I tried, but he ate through the chain, Red shrugged. Claudius, come here, boy. Come to mommy.
Shh, 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 shh,
It's okay, Anna. You don't have to wake up.
Claudius ran to Red's side and happily plopped his big head in her lap. Froggy collected his papers, but they were all disorganized now.
Come sit by me, Alex, Red said and patted the armrest of her throne. We have so much to talk about.
"Are you sure it's all right to visit during the open house meeting?" Alex asked, taking a seat.
Oh my gosh, it's more than fine, Red assured her. Charlie leads the meeting while I supervise. They'll get my attention if they need me.
And Froggy took his place at the front of the room and the meeting began. Forgive me, but the open house forms you filled out prior to arriving are a little bit jumbled," he apologized to the townspeople. "So when it's your turn, I'll need you to step forward and state your name and the nature of the pressing matter that you'd like us to deal with." One by one, the townspeople stepped forward and told Froggy and the representatives their dilemmas. Froggy and the representatives talked about the matter amongst themselves and then presented the villager with the best solution possible. It was a very nice process for Alex to witness. Froggy and the representatives genuinely seemed passionate about helping their townspeople.
Wonderful. Everything is going just splendidly, Red said, and then allowed Alex to become her sole focus. Okay, let's talk about your date this evening. Have you picked out an outfit to wear? Because if not, I have this little pink dress somewhere in my closet that I think would look absolutely divine on you.
"I was thinking I would just wear this," Alex said and gestured at the sparkly dress she wore every day. "I think he'd appreciate it if I just dressed as myself."
Be careful of that, Red warned her. Some of the best advice that Granny ever gave me was to never be myself when meeting someone for the first time. You really don't want to scare them away.
Alex thought about this for a moment. She was pretty sure Granny had meant this advice for Red personally, not for everyone in general. "He's a farmer's son," Alex said. "I'm afraid doing or saying anything over the top might just scare him away as easily as not. I'd rather he feels comfortable with me than intimidated by me."
That may be, but you shouldn't make him feel too good about himself on the first date, Red instructed. Men must always think they're inferior to you, otherwise it doesn't leave room for you to train them.
Froggy interrupted their conversation momentarily. "Darling, this man is from the south part of town," he said about the townsman standing in the middle of the room. "Apparently the south path has become so bumpy that it's ruining all the carts that travel on it. They need it to be repaved."
Great. Then pave a new path, Red said with a big smile.
"Unfortunately, they don't have the funds for that, and the kingdom's pockets will be shallow until the new wall is built," Froggy explained. "What should the representatives and I suggest to them?" Red knew just the thing. She took the diamond bracelet off of her left wrist and tossed it to the man from the south village.
Here, you can sell this and use the money for a new path. It should be more than enough.
The man was stunned that the queen would give him something so valuable. Tears came to his eyes. "Oh, thank you, your majesty. Thank you so kindly," he said on his way out the door.
You're welcome, Red said and turned quickly back to Alex. So, where are you and Rook gonna go on your walk?
"I'm not sure," Alex said. "I was just planning on following him wherever he goes."
Red shook her head. No, whatever you do, do not let him take the lead on this walk, she said. Men are natural born leaders, and it's our job as women to rid them of that animalistic trait. If you let him lead the first walk, then soon he'll be leading the whole relationship.
"So, is it a good sign if he wants me to lead the walk then?"
Alex asked. Oh my god, no. That's even worse, Red said. That means he's got no confidence and he expects you to do all the work and hold his hand for the rest of his life. You are way too young for that, Alex.
Alex scrunched her forehead. Red was only making matters even more confusing for her. Do you really believe this advice, Red? Alex asked.
Oh, none of this stuff pertains to me, Red said. I'm just looking out for you.
Darling, Froggy interrupted again, this woman is from the eastern part of town. She's a baker whose husband died a few years ago. She makes a decent living, but not enough to take care of her 4 children on her own. Tears were streaming down the poor baker's face. She was clearly ashamed to be standing before them asking for help.
Oh, there, Red said sympathetically. There's really no reason to cry. We all need a helping hand every now and then, especially me. I am useless without my staff.
The queen scanned a dozen or so remaining townspeople in the line. She saw a frail and sad-looking man holding a pitchfork in the very back.
Excuse me, sir, are you a farmer?
She asked him, and the man was shocked that the queen was speaking to him directly. Yes, I am, your majesty, he said with a quick bow.
Let me guess, you're here because you can no longer afford to feed your family. Am I correct about that? Red asked.
Yes, your majesty, he said, amazed that she could tell so easily.
Okay, wonderful, Red said happily,
and everyone in the room gave her a strange look.
Oh, no, sorry. I didn't mean that part was wonderful. I meant it's wonderful that you're a farmer because I believe that you and this baker can help each other out. Do you have cows on your farm?
The farmer nodded. Oh, yeah, I got 6 cows, he said.
Okay, terrific, Red said, and then looked back to the baker. I assume that the financial burden for you is the cost of milk. Am I right?
Yes, your majesty, the tearful baker admitted.
Well, then that's solved, Red said with a gleeful clap. The farmer will supply the baker with as much milk as she needs, and in return, she will provide food for his family. Does that work for everybody?
The farmer and the baker looked at each other and smiled. Queen Red had given both of them a solution. Froggy and Alex exchanged a smile of their own. Red may have been clueless most of the time, but when she was good, she was good. Froggy continued the open house meeting, and Red continued chatting with Alex.
Now, if he wants to go on a second walk with you, you have to act like you are too busy, Red said.
Why would I do that? Alex asked.
To keep him grateful for your company,
Red said as if it was obvious. A hurried set of footsteps then echoed through the room. A woman was causing quite a commotion as she entered, pushing past all the townspeople waiting in line. It had been such a pleasant day until this. The disturbance caught everyone's attention, especially Red's. Excuse me, you will have to wait your turn, Froggy politely told the woman. I didn't come here to ask for any favors, the woman said as she stepped before them. I've come here to make an announcement. She was very beautiful and a determined young woman who seemed to be about the same age as Red. She had pale skin and blue eyes and dark hair that was tucked underneath a yellow bonnet. She wore a matching yellow ruffled dress with a blue sash and carried a white shepherd's staff. She was the most stylish shepherdess that Alex had ever laid eyes on. Who are you? Froggy asked her. He was fairly new to the Red Riding Hood Kingdom, and he didn't recognize her. I'm Little Bo Peep. I'm the owner of the Bo Peep Family Farms, she declared, and a hush fell over the room. Little Bo Peep was very powerful and a respected member of the community. It was only on rare occasions that she was even seen outside of her farms. The townspeople and representatives knew that there must be a very important reason that she had come to the House of Progress today. Queen Red eyed her up and down, left to right. She refused to be intimidated by anyone in her own house.
Thank you for joining us, Little Bo, she said. What brings you to the House of Progress today?
Little Bo smiled. Well, to put it simply, I've come before you to challenge Queen Red for the throne of the Red Riding Hood Kingdom. Everyone gasped. Never in the history of the Red Riding Hood Kingdom had someone so openly disrespected the Queen. Little Bo's smile sneered at their reaction. At this bold declaration, Red stood up from her throne. How dare you, she said coldly. You think you can just walk into my House of Progress and threaten the throne of my kingdom? You're lucky I don't have you locked up immediately. Well, you think this is your kingdom? Little Bo said without a trace of fear. Then you're mistaken, your majesty. It may have your name on it, but this kingdom belongs to the people. The sole purpose of the CRAWL revolution was to free ourselves from the evil queen who was in the power in the northern kingdom at the time. Now look at us, a decade and a half later, and we're standing in one of the many shrines to another self-obsessed queen. Well, I'm sick of it, and I'm not the only one. She reached into the pocket of her dress and removed a scroll that she handed to Froggy. This is a petition signed by 100 other citizens of the kingdom who agree it's time for a regime change, Little Bo said. They also stated that I'm their chosen candidate for new sovereign. We elected a queen before, and we can elect a queen again. Well, this is preposterous, Froggy said. No, it's the will of the people, sir, Little Bo corrected. Are you going to ignore it? In the House of Progress of all places? Froggy looked over the list of names and shared it with the representatives. You're not actually humoring her, are you? Red yelled, outraged that they would even read such a thing. This little peep girl has a point, dear, Granny said. Granny? Whose side are you on? Red asked in shock. I'll always be on your side, dear, Granny said. But it's the people who gave you your throne. So if the people want to give it to someone else now, they have the right to do so. All of the other representatives seemed to agree with her. Even the 3 blind mice nodded along, even though they couldn't read the names on the scroll. What makes you think that you are qualified to lead this country? Red asked Little Bo. Well, my farm makes up over 70% of the kingdom, and we produce over 80% of the goods that we trade with other kingdoms, Little Bo proclaimed, only for you to take 90% of those profits and use it to build a castle and statues of just yourself. Red's nostrils flared. Which keeps many builders and artists employed throughout the kingdom, she said in defense. Yeah, but as you can see, there are no builders or artists seeking aid in this room, Little Bo pointed out. I believe there's a more responsible way that this kingdom can be managed that will benefit everyone equally, and I believe I'm the woman to do it. The townspeople and the representatives began whispering amongst themselves. Red could sense some of them were starting to agree with Bo Peep. So, what do you want, Little Bo? Red said, crossing her arms. You can't just waltz in here and demand to be the queen. Red was staring, You can't just waltz in here and demand to be the queen. But Sir Baba raised a hoof to join the conversation. Well, we could have another election. Red was staring daggers at him. Oh, typical. The sheep wants Little Bo to run for queen. That's partisanship if ever I saw some. Well, I think it's a good idea, Granny said. An election would give the people of the kingdom a way to express their will. And what if I don't allow an election? Red said. I'm still the queen after all, and the last time I checked, my word is still law. Little Bo stepped even closer to her throne. Then you'd be proven to your kingdom that you're no different from the evil queen, and the next resolution that breaks out will be one against you. This statement was meant to scare Red, and it worked. Fine, so be it, Red said. We'll humor this shepherdess with a little election, but if I recall, Little Bo, you have a reputation of not being able to find your own sheep, so I doubt you'll be able to find the support that rivals mine. I was elected queen after the CRAWL revolution, and I will be elected queen again. Well, then I'll see your majesty at the polls, Little Bo said, with a coy smile, and she turned on her heels and promptly left the House of Progress. Red reseated herself on the throne. Her cheeks were bright pink, and a concerned scowl was frozen on her face. Alex had never seen her look so distraught. The thought of losing her throne had always been Red's greatest fear, but the idea that she might lose it to the people's will was obviously unbearable to her. Alex couldn't imagine Red as anything but queen. She put her hand on her Fred's shoulder, wishing that she had words to comfort her with. Froggy ran up to the throne and kneeled at her side. Are you all right, my dear? Splendid. Just splendid, Red said, and she stared at the floor, quietly plotting her next move. If it's an election that sheep herder wants, it's an election that she will get. Oh. Well then. I've managed to keep her asleep for the whole chapter, so we'll read chapter 7 as soon as I have a sip of coffee. That was a pretty sick burn though, right? You can't even keep track of your own sheep. Okay. We did it. No. Shh, 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 shh. You don't want to be awake. Hi. What's that face? You don't want to be awake. CP time? Is that too silly? Is mommy too silly? What time is it? 9:07. Well, that's not so bad. 40 minutes is a pretty good nap. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Where's mommy's nose? Can you boop mommy's nose? Where's mommy's nose? Is it like this? Boop. Where's mommy's nose? You're too sleepy. You don't remember where mommy's nose is? Oh, you gonna do it? Almost. You almost got it. Where's mommy's nose? You say, boop. Are you making silly sounds with your feet? Yeah. You say, yay, I had a good nap. Oh, there's mommy's nose. But that wasn't very purposeful. That looked like it was an accident. Can you boop mommy's nose on purpose? Boop. Boop. What? Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna show everyone you know how to do it? Or are we gonna go play and read another chapter? Okay, you wanna go play? Okay. I forgot about a wrap for my cat. Oh my gosh, that's amazing, Jen. I can't wait to see it. What kind? Okay, let's get you out. Let's get you out of the rainbow wrap. Boop, boop. 1, 2, 3. Yay! 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you have a burn cloth again. Let me move this out of the way because this isn't where our tripod goes. Okay. Let's get our friends. Let's get mommy's coffee. Yes. Let's move over here. Let's do a little Tower of Terror action. Let's move the gate. Actually, I don't think I want the gate that far away. I think I want it right here. Okay. There's one that's a long strip that you wrap around and tie. Oh, stretchy wrap. Very nice. That will be perfect for a cat, I think. I like it. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Tower of Terror. Here we go. And woo! Sorry to anyone who was just joining right as we did the Tower of Terror. What do you think is going on here? I think it's just like hair that refuses to stay in a braid. Pretty much. Okay. Well, let's have a sip of coffee, then we'll read the next chapter, shall we? Is that right? Can you say, yeah? Yeah. Yeah. She's just grinning. I have a papoose for my dog. Wait, I want to see that, Brittany. They had the structure carries so the cat looks uncomfortable. Yeah, I'd imagine so. All right, shall we keep going? Let's see. How long is this chapter? Do you think she'll let us do it? It's a medium chapter. Let's see. Let's see, right? Okay. Let's see. Chapter 7 is called Little Bo Peeping. Uh-oh. Alex left Red's House of Progress grateful to return to her own problems. The anxiety she felt about the fairy inaugural ball and the walk with Rook was heavy to carry around, but it wasn't life-altering like Red's afternoon had become. Although Alex had a sneaking suspicion that Red would find a way to drag her into this drama. That evening, Alex went to the field beyond the garden to meet with Rook. Yeah. Guess what? You know how to turn over and go. You don't need Mommy. Hey, you don't need Mommy. You know how to do it. Yes, you do. You do. You want this? There you go. That evening, Alex went to the field beyond the gardens to meet Rook. She was positive she arrived at the exact time they'd agreed to meet, but when she got there, Rook was nowhere in sight. Alex sat on a boulder by the stream and waited patiently for him, or at least she thought she was being patient. But every second waiting for Rook felt like a minute, and every minute felt like an hour. The more she waited, the more her head filled with doubts. Where was he? What was taking him so long? Had he forgotten about their walk? Had he changed his mind and decided not to come? Had she been stood up? In between the negative thoughts and the she self-consciously straightened her headband and fixed a crease in her dress. After 5 minutes of waiting, Alex convinced herself that Rook wasn't coming. She was going to go tell Red the next time what was she going to tell Red the next time she saw her? How was she supposed to ever trust another boy again? And how could she live with this kind of embarrassment? And just when she was about to call it a day and return to the fairy palace, she heard rustling in the woods beyond the field, and Rook stepped into view looking as happy, excited, and dreamy as ever. He showed up, honey. He showed up. Hello, Alex, Rook said with a big smile. Hey, Rook, Alex said, and she let out a relaxed sigh. Just seeing him had instantly switched off all the negative thoughts multiplying in her head. She had stressed herself out for no reason. Neither knew if they should hug or shake hands or something else, so they stood a few feet apart and silently looked at each other for a moment. It was an awkward hello. I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but this reminds me very much of the first time I met my husband, because I think a lot of you know we were set up, so we had been talking before we ever met each other, but like not online because we were set up by a person. And when I stepped into the restaurant that we met at for the first time, he tells me, apparently he said handshake or hug, but it was really loud in there, and apparently I'm deaf, so all I heard was hug, so I gave him a hug, and he said that that was a test, and if I gave him a handshake, he was gonna know not to ask me to go out to drinks after dinner, because I probably didn't like seeing him for the first time if I gave him a handshake instead of a hug. But I never even heard the handshake part. I only heard hug, and so I just gave him a hug. And now we have a baby. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. That's the story. But it was funny. Later. He didn't tell me that until later. I don't know what I would have done if I heard handshake or hug. I would have been like, oh, does he think I'm hideous? I don't know what I would have thought. But that's what actually happened. He didn't tell me until, gosh, probably a year later. He was like, I'm really glad that you chose hug. And I was like, what? Chose hug? What do you mean chose hug? And he was like when I said handshake or hug, and I was like, what are you talking about? I had no idea. It's pretty funny, right, honey? And now you're here. Thank goodness. What would we do without you? We wouldn't survive. Yeah. Totally kismet. Completely agree. Let's see. Where was I? Sorry. How was your day? Alex said, finally breaking the silence. It was pretty normal, Rook said. I was planting carrots. How nice, Alex said, as if this was the most fascinating thing that she had heard in weeks, and Rook nodded. Yup, I'm a good gardener, he said. My secret is singing. I've discovered that if I sing to the crops, they grow much healthier. And Rook's eyes suddenly widened. Oh, I hope that you find that charming and not crazy. It's not like I have conversations with the plants or anything. And Alex giggled. Oh, please, where I live, plants often sing back. Rook was relieved to hear this. Oh, so where would you like to walk to? He asked. I was planning to follow you, Alex said. She wasn't obeying any of Red's advice. She knew that Red would have killed her for saying that she'd follow Rook. Well, there's a trail through the woods that I know pretty well, Rook said. Terrific, Alex said. and they journeyed into the trees and found a small dirt path that snaked deeper into the woods. It wasn't a very scenic route, but it didn't matter. Their walk was more about getting to know each other. However, they were both afraid to be the first to say or do something to the other.
Well, what if we take turns asking each other questions? Rook suggested. This is going to be a very quiet walk unless we start talking about something. Or we could play charades.
That sounds like a plan, Alex said, but you go first.
Oh, you're making me go first, Rook said playfully. All right. Here's a question. How long have you been practicing magic?
Less than a year, actually, Alex said. Everyone says I've been learning very quickly, though I didn't even know that I was a fairy until I was 12 years old.
Really? Rook said. How'd you find out?
It's a really long story, Alex said bashfully.
Good thing we picked a long path,
Rook said with a wink that made her melt inside. And Alex decided to tell him the shortest version of the story that she could. So my twin brother and I grew up in a place very far away from this and different from everything here, she explained. Our dad grew up here and felt that magic ruined people, and he thought that it made them lazy and entitled, and he wanted us to learn how to take care of our problems without relying on magic. And then when we were 12, well, to make a long story short, we followed our grandmother home one day and we discovered who we really were. Rook's eyebrows raised so high that they disappeared up into his floppy hair.
That's incredible, he said. No wonder you're so different from all the other fairies. What does your father think of you now?
I wouldn't know, Alex said sadly. He died shortly before our 11th birthday. He never got to tell us the truth himself. Oh, hi. Oh, hi, Mark. Good job. That was excellent. High five. Good job. High five.
Oh, good burp. Wow. She gave me a burp instead of a high five.
High five? High five? No high five for mommy? Hi. Hi, beautiful angel. Are you a beautiful angel? I think so.
Is your brother a fairy too?
Rook asked. Alex couldn't help but laugh. Connor? A fairy? Oh, heavens no. Being a fairy's the last thing he ever wanted to be. He still lives back at home with our mom and our stepdad, and I think he'd be really good at magic if he ever tried, though.
Oh, what about your grandmother? Does she live in the fairy kingdom with you?
Rook asked. It took Alex a moment to respond. She hadn't realized how little he knew about her, and it was kind of refreshing. He must have genuinely liked Alex for her, and not for who she was going to be. Yeah, she does, Alex said. She wasn't sure how he would react to learning who her grandmother was, and she wasn't sure she was even ready for him to know. Okay, it's my turn to ask you questions now. How old are you? Rook had to think about this answer.
I'm 15, but technically I'm 115.
You see the book? Is that a nice book? Yeah. Do you want one of your books? Do you want William Shakespeare? Yeah.
Where did I lose my spot? Sorry. I'm 15, but technically I'm 115.
At first, Alex thought he was joking and gave him a small laugh, but when he didn't laugh, she realized that he was being serious. Oh my goodness, because of the 100-year sleeping curse, she figured it out. You must have been a toddler when the curse was cast.
I was very young, he said. I don't remember much about it. I was playing outside when suddenly, for no reason, I went to sleep. And then my dad and I woke up 100 years later.
What about your mother? Alex asked. What happened to her?
Rook paused for a second before explaining. It was my birthday, and my mother and my brother were in the field collecting berries for a special dessert they were making that night. The field was just outside the border of the Eastern Kingdom, so when the sleeping spell cast, it didn't reach them. By the time my father and I woke up, they were gone.
Alex placed a hand over her mouth. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry, Rook, she said. It never occurred to me that families were separated because of the curse.
Many people didn't realize that, Rook said. They just assumed everyone went to sleep and awoke their normal lives 100 years later, but our whole lives were changed when we awoke. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I was happy to hear that Esme had been killed. It brought a lot of closure for me. I don't think my father will ever be the same, though. That's why he hates fairies so much. He blames them for not being able to stop the curse.
That's crazy, right, honey? It's a little crazy?
Yeah.
Alex nodded. I understand him a little better now, she said, and she wondered how Rook and Farmer Robbins would take knowing that she was the one who had defeated the Enchantress. Would it make them like her anymore, or would she just become a living reminder of what they had lost?
My mother and my brother took care of us for as long as they could while we slept, Rook went on. They wrote us letters every day and left them for us to read when the curse was eventually broken. I'll read one or two of them when I find myself missing them the most. It makes it feel like they're still around.
Alex understood this more than he knew. One of the reasons she felt so comfortable in the Land of Stories was because everything here reminded Alex of her dad, and it made missing him a little less painful.
All right, my turn to ask you another question, Rook said, changing the subject. How was your day? Tell me everything.
Alex didn't know where to begin. Well, it started out really nice, she said. I went to the Red Riding Hood Kingdom to visit Queen Red. We're old friends, believe it or not. But then it took a really bizarre turn.
Well, what happened?
Her throne was challenged by Little Bo Peep, Alex told him. She managed to convince everyone that she should have an election for a new leader.
Rook was so intrigued, his whole face lit up. That's unbelievable, he said. What would make her do that? I always thought Queen Red was loved by her people.
Yeah, not everyone, it seems, Alex said. Apparently, Little Bo Peep has been unhappy for a really long time with the way the kingdom's been managed, and she thinks that she would be a much better queen. I would never want Red to lose her throne, but honestly, I think that Little Bo had some valid things to say.
Rook scrunched his forehead and thought more about it. Wow. What would you say possessed Little Bo to challenge the throne today of all days? If she's been unhappy for so long, you'd think that she would have done something a little sooner.
Alex thought back to the scene that Little Bo had caused earlier that day in the House of Progress, but she couldn't come up with an answer. You know, that's a really good point, she said. She didn't mention anything in particular, but something must have provoked her to demand an election now.
Yeah, seems fishy if you ask me,
Rook said, and he abruptly stopped walking and sly smile crept over his face. What is it? Alex asked, looking back at him.
I just thought of something really adventurous that we could do.
And then he quickly said,
Never mind, though. It probably isn't your cup of tea.
Alec laughed. If only he knew the mischief that she and her brother had gotten into over the years. I will have you know, I happen to be very adventurous, she teased. Don't let the wand and the sparkly dress fool you.
And Rook shook his head. No, I just don't want to be a bad influence, especially on an up-and-coming fairy. I could get both of us into a lot of trouble.
Alex was appreciative of this, but now she was even more curious about what he was getting at. Well, then tonight I'll just be Alex, she said. What's on your mind?
Are you clapping about it? Yay, Alex! Yay! Yay! Very good.
Rook laughed at her and he caved in.
All right, don't say I didn't warn you, he chuckled. I was just going to suggest that if you're curious about Little Bo Peep's intentions, that we'd sneak onto her farm and have a look around. I know right where it is. It's on the south side of the Red Riding Hood Kingdom, not too far from our farm. The farmhands sold my father some sheep one time.
And Alex's conscience instantly shot down the idea. As a respected fairy, it would be extremely irresponsible and childish of her to spy on Little Bo Peep. She would never want to do anything that could potentially jeopardize her reputation. But the answer she gave Rook took them both by surprise. Let's do it, she said.
Rook was shocked. He had kind of been half kidding, but the excitement in Alex's eyes was contagious. Wait, are you sure you're up for it? I'm not pressuring you here, am I?
In truth, the only thing pressuring Alex was Alex herself. It felt like ages since she'd experienced a true adventure, and she craved the fear of getting caught and missed the thrill of being chased.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Mommy caught you, huh?
Yeah.
Do you want this? Where are you trying to go? You want the Land of Stories? We can read it together. Let's ride Cornelius, Alex said. It'll take a quarter of the time to get there. And she confidently turned around and headed back to the field. Rook froze for a moment before catching up with her. He liked her more and more with every moment that they spent together. And when they returned to the field, Alex whistled for Cornelius, and he appeared shortly thereafter. Good evening, Cornelius, Alex said. Rook and I are going to the Little Red Riding Hood Kingdom to spy on someone. Do you care to join us for a little mischief tonight? Cornelius was just as surprised as Rook had been. He had never seen this side of Alex before, but he liked it. He nodded his huge head as if to say, I thought you'd never ask.
and Rook and Alex climbed astride the unicorn, and the three took off toward the Red Riding Hood kingdom. And by the time they reached the kingdom's partially built wall, the sun had set and the moon was aglow in a twinkling night sky. All the stone masons had gone home for the night, so Alex and Rook didn't have to worry about being seen getting through the kingdom. Rook jumped off Cornelius's back and began climbing the unfinished wall. It's a little tricky. I think you'll manage in that dress of yours, though," Rook called down to Alex, but Alex didn't even bother trying to climb it. She removed her wand from the pocket of her dress and pointed it directly at the wall, and then a doorway appeared, and Alex effortlessly walked through it and into the kingdom. "Oh, now you're just showing off," Rook said to her and climbed down to meet her. Cornelius tried to walk through the doorway, but he didn't fit. "Stay on the other side of the wall, Cornelius," Alex said. "We'll be back soon." The unicorn slumped. He was disappointed that he wasn't going to go with them, but he patiently waited as Alex requested. Rook took Alex by the hand and led her through the grassy hills of the Bo Peep farm. It was the first time that a boy had ever held Alex's hand. Really? That's what we're doing? You gonna grab everybody? Maybe you could go grab stuff in the other direction. What do you think? Here you go. Whee! What's this? Honey. What's this? Who's this? Is this William Shakespeare? Is this William Shakespeare? Look. Whee! You want to play with the bears? What's this? Oh, wow. Bears. Very exciting. She's waving at them. She's going like this to the little bears. Oh my gosh. You're too smart. You are too smart, honey. She's pulling herself up to reach the highest of the bears and going like this. You got it. Very proud of herself. Are you very proud of yourself, honey? Yeah. You got it. You can do it. Look, here. About a mile past the, Rook took Alex, blah, 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 blah. She felt like her heart was going to do cartwheels in her stomach. About a mile past the wall, the roof of the little Bo Peep quaint farm came into view in the distance. It was an adorable place and reminded Alex of a playset that she and her brother had when they were toddlers. The barn was big and painted bright red with white trim. The farmhouse was wooden and small, the perfect size for one person, and it had a wraparound porch. A metal windmill stood between the buildings, slowly turning in the night breeze. Huge stacks of hay were scattered across the land, and there were fluffy black and white sheep as far as the eye could see. It was like the farm was covered in little walking clouds. And when they got closer to the farm, Rook pulled Alex behind a haystack to hide from a group of farmhands that they saw up ahead. Is the piggy worried? That's the brick pig. He's not worried. He says, "My house is strong. I'm okay." Yeah, yay! Yay, my house is strong. I'm the brick pig. My house can stand up to anything. I'm descended from Italian immigrants and I built all the buildings in New York. Yay! Where were we? The farmhands were collecting their tools and putting them away in the barn. They had finished their work for the day and they were preparing to go home. The front door of the farmhouse suddenly burst open and little Bo Peep stepped onto the porch. She had taken her bonnet off for the evening and her dark hair was up in a tight bun. She wore a long blue cloak over her flowing, ruffled yellow dress and held a staff in one hand and a lantern in the other. Her pale skin glowed in the moonlight. At first, Bo Peep appeared to be in a hurry, but she stayed on the porch and she realized that the farmhands were still there. "Good night, Miss Peep," the farmhands called to her. "Good night, gentlemen. Thank you for all your hard work today," little Bo said back. "See you in the morning." The farmhands tipped their hats to her, and they all climbed into the same wagon and drove off into the night. Little Bo smiled and waved to them, but once they were out of sight, her smile faded into a somber expression. She did a full circle around the porch, scanning the farm to make absolutely sure that she was alone. Once she was sure that every farmhand had left, Little Bo hurried down the steps of the porch and headed straight to the barn. She pulled open the heavy red doors and shut them behind herself. Alex and Rook heard a scrape as Little Bo locked the doors from inside. "What do you think she's up to?" Alex whispered. "Oh, let's find out." Rook gestured for her to follow him, and they sprinted to the barn as quickly and as quietly and low to the ground as possible. Alex kept tripping over her dress, and Rook had to help her up each time. They were both laughing and kept reminding each other to stay quiet. Alex couldn't remember the last time she had had this much fun. They circled the barn until they found an open window and slowly peeked over the windowsill to see inside. The barn was lined with mountainous stacks of square hay bales. Little Bo was standing before the largest stack in the middle of the barn, tirelessly pulling the bales down one square at a time. She grunted and dabbed her forehead with the corner of her cloak, and eventually a large rectangular object covered with a sheet was revealed. Little Bo had been hiding something in the hay. She yanked the sheet off the covering object, and Alex had to put a hand over her mouth to keep from gasping aloud. "That's the magic mirror," Alex whispered. "Little Bo Peep is hiding a magic mirror in her barn." "Are you sure it's magic?" Rook asked. "I'm positive." The mirror had a thick silver flame with floral engravings, and a reflection was too crisp to be a normal mirror. Little Bo examined herself in the mirror, fixing a few strands of hair that had fallen into her face, and once she was satisfied with her appearance, she gently placed an open hand on the glass. The mirror instantly rippled to life like a stone had been dropped into a still lake. Little Bo leaned close to the mirror as much as she could without touching it. "Are you there, my love?" she whispered softly, and her eyes went wide and anxious as she waited. She looked like a puppy waiting for its master to arrive home. A dark silhouette of a man appeared through the rippling glass. "I am," his deep and gruff voice declared, and Little Bo smiled, pressed both of her hands against the glass. "I missed you so much today," she said. "I would have come sooner, but my farm hands were working late." "How did it go at the House of Progress?" the man asked. "Everything went exactly as we planned," Little Bo was happy to share. "I wish you could have been there to hear me. I was very convincing. No one thought that I was saying anything but genuinely passionate about the kingdom." "Good," the man said. "Make sure to keep it that way." The man's harsh tone made Little Bo Peep go blue. "What's wrong? You don't seem like yourself," she said, and she peered closer to the glass that his silhouette was in to see him better. "Every day I'm trapped in here, it's harder than the one before," he said. "I'm starting to have doubts that I'll ever be free." "You don't trust me?" Little Bo said sadly. "I trust your intentions, my sweet, but until you're crowned queen, I can't get my hopes up," he said. "Misery fills the emptiness that hope leaves behind when the world disappoints you." Little Bo passionately pressed her body up against the glass. "I will find a way to get you out of here, if it is the last thing I do," she said. "Soon I'll be queen, and I'll have a world of opportunity at my disposal. I'll exhaust every resource in my power until I have you in my arms again." The silhouette went silent. "We'll see," he said coldly. "You must believe in me," Little Bo said. "I can't do this without your trust." And the silhouette slowly faded away, and the mirror's glass then became solid. "No, come back. Please come back," Little Bo pleaded, but the man did not return. Little Bo slid down the glass and onto the ground. She sat on her knees and buried her face in her hands, quietly sobbing. Once she stopped crying, she stood and recovered the mirror, and restacked the bales of hay to hide it. "We should get back before she finishes," Rook suggested. And Alex agreed, and they crept away in the direction they'd come from. They stayed quiet until they reached the wall, and then they returned to the fairy kingdom on Cornelius's back. As they traveled home on the swift unicorn, Rook asked, "What's Little Bo Peep doing with a magic mirror? And who the heck was that man trapped inside it?" Alex had been asking herself the same questions. "I have no idea," she said. "I just feel so awful for her. Once someone's trapped inside a magic mirror, it's nearly impossible to get them out, so whoever that man was, well, it looked like Little Bo loved him very much." "That's the real reason she wants to become queen, then," Rook said. "She thinks if she becomes queen, it'll be easier to find a way to free him." "And from the looks of it, that man hasn't been trapped in the mirror very long," Alex said. "After a while, people imprisoned in the mirror start to lose themselves. Their thoughts and memories fade, and eventually all they can do is reflect the world around them. That man's mind was still pretty intact. He must have been cursed recently, and that's probably what triggered Little Bo's decision to challenge the throne today." "You sure know a lot about magic mirrors," Rook said. Yeah, I've had some experience with them, Alex said. And Little Bow's not the first person to think that the throne was a solution to getting someone out. Not many people know this, but the man trapped inside the evil Queen's mirror was her beloved too. Her vanity and all the horrible things that she did to Snow White, in one way or another, were just attempts to save the man from what was left.
Oh, good, Rook said with a smile in his eyes. I was afraid you might have had a collection of magic mirrors with all the other boys you've gone on walks on trapped inside of them.
They shared a laugh over the thought. Stop giving me ideas, Alex teased him. Besides, you're the first boy that I've ever gone on a walk with, so my collection would be really small. Alex saying this made Rook feel like the most special boy in the world, and the way he looked at Alex made her feel like the most special girl. The closer they got to the fairy kingdom, the closer they sat to each other on the unicorn. Soon they reached the field just outside the fairy gardens, and Rook helped Alex off of Cornelius. They looked into each other's eyes, each knowing that the night was coming to an end.
It's getting late, Rook said as he looked up to the night sky. I should go home before my father worries.
I had so much fun tonight, Alex said. Thank you for taking me on an adventure. I really needed one.
When may I see you again?
Rook had been waiting to ask this since they left the Red Riding Hood Kingdom.
I mean, if I might see you again, that is.
I'd like that very much, Alex said. There's this fairy ball thing that I have to go to tomorrow, but maybe we could see each other, I don't know, at the end of the week?
I can't wait.
He was looking deeply into her eyes so much that she felt like he was staring into her soul. He leaned closer to her, and her heart began to flutter. Was he about to do what she thought he was? Was she ready for it? But just before their mouths touched, Rook turned from her and began walking home.
To more adventures, Rook said.
To more adventures, Alex repeated.
Good night, Alex,
He said, and he disappeared into the trees. Alex sighed and leaned on Cornelius for support. Her heart was beating in time to a glorious... You really know how to ruin a romantic moment, hey, baby? Yeah. Can mommy have one more paragraph? Alex sighed and leaned on Cornelius for support. Her heart was beating in time to a glorious symphony that played in her mind. She felt like she was floating above herself. She had never wanted to be with someone as much as she wanted to be with Rook. His presence gave her a purpose that she couldn't explain. Alex patted Cornelius's head goodnight and made her way back to the fairy palace. She couldn't help skipping as she walked. She was full of excitement, giggles, and butterflies. Aww. 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 Can you say aww? Very nice. Aww.
All right, well, that was pretty good. We got through 2 chapters.
I will see you all tonight. I will be on live at 4:45, leading up to the restock to answer questions and such what. If you're a Patreon person and you have questions before restock, ask them on Patreon ASAP. And we will see you all this afternoon. All right, bye guys. Have a great rest of your day till then.